Hello everyone, this is Mr. Darius again, and today we will be addressing a very important topic in the human resource management department, and we are going to discuss about the key people within a organization, also known as managers, that are actually responsible with setting the long-term goals of that company, supervising and making sure that staff is motivated, making sure that we actually deliver what we have promised to our clients, and in the same time making sure that all categories of stakeholder are as satisfied as much as possible. So this is not a very easy role. Sadly to say so, I've been in several companies in which managers have been promoted just because there wasn't any other suitable candidate that would actually have the necessary skills to fill up that positions. Now, surprise, you can imagine how those companies actually evolve with managers that might have had very great skills in terms of being a good locksmith or electrician or an engineer, but when it came to people skills, they had zero skills, and therefore they were unable to gain the respect of others around them and actually motivate them towards achieving the common objectives. So now that we know what we're supposed to actually expect from a manager in technical terms, it is also good to underline that we would expect from a manager to also be a leader. This means to have a high level of emotional intelligence. This means to be aware of he or she's own feelings and the feelings of those around them with which they work, in order to be able to motivate them to achieve certain objectives. One of the first things that I do when I actually visit a company that I'm going to work with and start making an audit to see if we are compatible or if I can help them is trying to identify the informal leaders. Now, we've previously discussed what a leader is, but an informal leader might be a crucial person, key person that you want to gain on your side if you are about to become the next CEO or the next general manager in a certain company. Informal leaders can be seen as key persons that don't really have a formal authority in the company, but they have a huge respect from their colleagues and they have a huge influence over these colleagues. So you better call them to a meeting and try to establish a good connection, a good relationship with them, because it's very important of what the informal leaders believe about you in that company. Now, further, we will try to discuss the first leadership style, which is the autocratic one. And I want to make an observation. It is important, before we further discuss these theories, that we actually take in consideration McGregor's theory X and theory Y. Why? Because it's very hard for us to actually keep on track just one style of leadership for our entire, let's say, mandate as a manager within a company. So if you're going to be a manager, it might be phases in which you are going through. You might switch from autocratic to paternalistic, from democratic to laissez-faire, or let it be, but it all depends, or let's not say all depends, but it very much depends on your attitude towards the people you are actually working with. So if I as a manager will look up, according to McGregor's theory X, I would look to the persons around me with which I work as being lazy, not being willing to do their job, that they hate their job, that they need to be supervised constantly. There's no way I'm not going to end up as being an autocratic manager, so having an autocratic leadership style. But on the other hand, if I look at the people around me, and let's just say not only believe this, but actually have seen this as testing those people, that they love their jobs, that they come with creative inputs, that they're here to bring the company at the next level, that they are trying to create added value for that company, well, then I am looking at a management style or leadership style that would actually be more democratic. Of course, it will depend a lot on the level of skills on the level of education, and most importantly, on the attitude of those workers, if we're going to adopt one style of leadership or another style of leadership. So the first one that we will be discussing is autocratic. Okay? Now, autocratic leadership style is a leadership style in which the employees have no say. It is one-way communication. The manager knows best. The manager doesn't listen to anyone, and the manager takes all the decisions. Now, of course, there might be situations in which this leadership style might be suitable. Shockingly, I will give you some examples so that it actually makes sense. There are situations of crisis in which an army or a police force or a fire department must be coordinated, and the participation of all members will just slow the decision-making process and action being taken towards that crisis. So, ergo, that would be a situation in which the autocratic leadership style would be suitable. Now, another one would be when you're dealing with young, unexperienced, and let's say poorly motivated employees that not necessarily know what to do in their life or how to adopt a healthy attitude towards working, and here you're gonna need to step in and actually be autocratic. Okay? The second one would be paternalistic. And I'm going to try to build a funny example around them. It's like writing to Santa Claus being the manager, a letter that you want a GoPro for Christmas, and when that Santa gets the letter, it will look at it and say, you're getting a sweater, a gray one, because I know that's best for you. And this is actually what happens in paternalistic management. You feel like you have some sense of contribution as an employee because the manager will actually listen to what you have to say, but in the end, he or she will take the decision what is best for you, okay? So he will or she will decide what's best for you, not exactly what you tried to point out in your argumentation or your letter or your feedback, okay? Good. The third one is democratic. Okay? Now this is something that seems to bring a huge boost in the staff's morale, because now we have two-way communication. We have a manager which is willing to assess every input coming from every staff, is willing to give every member of his or her staff a chance to speak his or her mind regarding a certain problem, bring inputs, contribute to the future and all the processes that are going on within the company. But then again, it is very time consuming. So achieving a common decision, reaching a common solution could be very, very time consuming, and we might not always have that time to actually afford this, okay? Now, also democratic is the kind of leadership style that you can do when you are sure that if you delegate something to someone, it might actually happen. And the fourth one, would be let it be. So let it be, laissez-faire from French, okay? So let it be. And this is a kind of a dangerous one. I would like to think that it actually exists more of in theory than in practice, but I would definitely not go for it. This means delegating 100% full authority to the employees to deal with and fix a problem. Deal themselves with, there is no supervision. I cannot imagine personally as a business consultant such a world. So it's impossible to me to actually believe that this is a model that will be successful and would actually work within a company, okay? Because without supervision, the human nature is for self-preservation. So if we don't have someone that will ask results, that will be here to supervise our results and our work, we might not perform so well, and we might not be heading in the right direction. Okay? So these being said, I want to underline as a conclusion that your style of leadership to say so, will depend very much, as we already discussed in McGregor's theory X and theory Y, vision you have of the people around you, the skill and experience and attitude towards work those people will have, and actually the let's say challenges that the company is facing. If it's a crisis situation, if it's a boom situation, if it's a merger, if it's a takeover, it will depend very much. So these being said, today we have pointed out the importance of being a good manager and in the same time a leader, the importance of identifying the informal leaders quickly within a company and making a good connection with them in order to make sure that other employees are motivated and your vision as a CEO is spread. You can choose from being an autocratic, a paternalistic, a democratic, or a let it be manager type, and you must make sure that people around you are actually focused on achieving those objectives, because overall you're the one in front of the board of the advisors or in front of the owners that actually respond for the final results. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you consider the information over here very useful or useful a lot, make sure you subscribe. And if you have any other queries, just write me an email and I'll help you put it through. Thank you.